Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, we're going to spend some time out in the back garden doing a bit of a tidy up, rescuing the peas which had flopped over during the bad weather, and also having a look at one very sad looking Roma tomato. Then we're going to get into some sowing for our autumn veggie plants so they're ready in time for us for the early March planting out. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good afternoon. It is Monday the 12th of January and it's sunny, but not hot, thankfully. So we've just had 3 days of really hot weather, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yesterday being around about low 30s, really strong northwest winds. So today is cooler, it's only just about 20. We've had some rain, thankfully. Southerly came through yesterday evening and we got rain. So the garden has had a bit of a water. I'm just going to check in a bit to see how much and whether I need to top it up. But yeah, it's had a bit of water. I've been out in the greenhouse this morning. It was nice cloud cover, so it was good to be in there. And I was doing some watering, which it needed, even though it had only just been watered 24 hours ago, and I was starting to do a bit of a tidy up, but after lunch the sun came out and it got hot in there, so the rest will have to wait till tomorrow. But I had promised myself that I was going to get out into the back garden this afternoon, and that's where I am at the moment. I'm right next to where the outside tomatoes are, and we've got a few things that we need to do out here this afternoon. The Roma tomato that it looks like it had died is definitely dead, so we're going to have a look at that. I've looked up to see why, but we'll discuss that a bit more. Because of the weather yesterday, my peas, which have grown into monstrosities, they have come a cropper, so I'm going to have to fix them up. And I'm also wanting to harvest some spring onions, which they're massive. I probably just need to pull both rows. And the other thing I needed to do was thinking. Carrots, onions, peas. Yeah, it's gone for now. I'll think about it in a bit. So we're going to start with tomato and we're going to have a look at it. And I've got a couple of ideas why it's died. I'll talk about them probably later. And yeah, it's a bit sad, but it is what it is. Okay, I've just moved the camera and I'm out of shot a bit, but I just wanted to show you the difference between the two, the tomatoes. So this is the one that's given up and this one's doing okay. Now, they're both Roma, so I'll bring you a bit closer and I'll put some photos in as well. This just started off as a wilt almost. It just sort of lost some of its green, the intense green that's got. And then in less than a week, it's just gone to that. I think I indicated at the end of last week's vlog when I was out here doing something else, that I was going to pull it out on the Saturday, but it was just Friday or Saturday, it was just too hot. So I'm doing it today, but yeah, not sure. I've done some research and it's could be a type of wilt, and I'll put the name because I can't remember the exact name. I'll put the name in down here. Or it could be herbicide overspray, and yeah, I do know that there was some spraying done here about 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure if that was affected it. But you see, the others are fine. That's fine, that's not. So I'm not quite sure. There is another tomato just behind me that's not looking particularly well either, but it was a late plant and it wasn't that healthy when I put it in because it'd been in the pot too long. So really confused. So yeah, I'm going to pull it out and we'll go from there. We'll do a bit of speedy while I pull it out. I'll bring you in closer first to have a good look, and then we'll do some speedy. So that's a closer look for you. I don't think much of the fruit's going to do much, though some of it may do okay. Sorry, I'm just holding this by the tripod, but it's only gone one leg. Yeah, interesting. If you've got any thoughts, do put them down in the comments for me, please. I'd love to learn. Okay, that didn't take long to do. So just bringing a bit closer. That's what they look like. So yeah, really not quite sure what's going on there. One of the things that it did say is it could be like nematodes and that they may have destroyed the root structure, but as you can see, the roots are fine. They're not huge. I mean, they could have gone a lot further down, but they're not dreadful either. And I can't see any nematodes there. So, yeah, not sure what's going on with it. That's going into the council green bin. I don't usually sort of panic about things like powdery mildew and what have you. That all just goes into the compost. But because I don't know what that is, I don't really want to put it into the compost, and if it's potentially spreadable, like a virus that lasts a lot longer, I just don't want it in the garden. I'm going to go and wash my hands in a minute because, as I said, I don't want to spread it. But yeah, the other tomatoes are looking really good, except for one that's just over there, which I'll have another look at in a minute. The ones in the main bed that I did way back with the Roma and the Moneymaker, I gave them a big trim up at the end of last week. I think it was about Thursday. That might have been when I noticed this one going stuffed. So they're all looking good, and some of them are just starting to lose the green look, which is good. Which means that they're going to start turning. I did notice that this morning when I was in the greenhouse that one of the black cherries was starting to turn. Well, it had turned. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And I've got sun gold on the deck that I think will be ready to pick today. I mean, there's only a few of them, and I think there's only like one, maybe two that are ready to pick. But I did notice that the sun gold in the greenhouse that I planted as a I can't throw you out plant and just stuffed in the greenhouse next to the eggplants, that is going. So I should have some from there too in the next few days. That's awesome. Right, I've just dumped the contents into the green bin, and I've put some bleach in the bucket and hot water because I really just don't want to spread it. My secateurs need cleaning, so I've got an old rag here and I've soaked it in meths, so they're going to get a good clean too. Just to try and reduce whatever it is. Give my hands a good scrub as well while I was inside, but I have also brought out some hand sanitizer because I want to have a look at this one. So I'm going to have a quick look. Right, now I was probably 99.9% sure that the one I've just pulled out, wasn't blight, like standard tomato or potato blight. I had blight last year, unfortunately, because we had a cool and wet summer. This summer's not been cool and wet, though we did have a period of around about 8 days, maybe a bit more, of cooler and wet weather around the Christmas period. Now, looking at this though, I'm not sure because, where is it? Yeah, here. This looked a bit more blightish. You can see it's the dark stem. Not sure. I'm going to have to watch it. I've trimmed it off and I'll get rid of this. Blight I can deal with because it's a fungal thing. But yeah, hopefully not, because once blight gets into a plant it will spread through all the other plants, and everything else is looking healthy, but just a few leaves on that one. So, but I'm going to wipe my tools down again, and she says that she struggles to get this open because it's got a child lock on it. Typical. Press down and up, down and around. There we go. I hate hand sanitizer, not because it's bad or anything like that. It's just that I have used so much of it while nursing. Yep, and it's not working. Okay, I'll sort that out in a minute. That, yeah, I'm just over it. Yeah. And it does nothing for your hands. It absolutely strips your hands. Doesn't matter if it says that it's got stuff in it. It still strips your hands. Right, I've cleaned up all again now, so I am onto my peas. As you can see, they have fallen over. And this is very wobbly. You should have seen it yesterday. So I'm just going to give it a quick tidy up. It's got a wee bit of powdery mildew at the bottom, mainly from the cool damp weather we had over Christmas, but that's fine. They're still doing great. They're forming loads of peas. They just need a bit of support because it's fallen down. So I've grabbed a couple more wooden stakes. I think they're 2.5s or something like that, and I think I'll stick them in beside these canes. I'm not going to take anything apart. I'm just going to add to it and see if I can support these poor old peas. I might have to do a wee bit of trimming because some of them got a bit trashed yesterday, so there's a few broken bits that are better taken off than left there. So I'll change camera angle and bring you in a bit closer and you can see what I'm up to. Peas restrained, well, mainly restrained. I think next time I'm going to have to put a lot taller netting up. This is a different variety than I normally do, and I'm not quite sure why I went with that one. Normally the ones I grow are probably about half the size, a bit bushier, but these ones are a bit taller. They weren't meant to be like a climbing pea, which you can get, ones that go really, really tall. But they were meant to be dwarf ones, which I suppose they are still dwarf. They're just taller than what I'm used to. But anyway, I've tied them in the best I can at the moment. I've got them jammed in between the netting that I had for the early peas that are now out, and yeah, just have to see how they go. The beans are just there, they're doing well, they're flowering at the moment, and on the other side is my succession sowing of my peas, so they are going to be as tall. So I might actually, while they're still short, add another bit of netting and a couple more taller stakes to them so that they cope a bit better. Might do that, not today though. I'll have to go and find some stakes to do it with, and I'm almost out of netting, so yeah. Now onto the onions. We're in the onion patch. So these are the spring onions. The red onions are there and the white onions are closest to you. They're doing really, really well. I'll bring the camera down later and show you, but I've got them about that size, not quite tennis ball size. There's some that are a bit smaller, but the majority of them are around there. And the red ones, they're a bit smaller, but they're still good size. None of them are sort of showing the point where that they need to be harvested yet, i.e. flopping over. So yeah, but my spring onions, yeah, they are doing great guns. Unfortunately, my ones that I sowed in the 6Ls didn't come up. probably through neglect on my part. I probably just didn't water them enough for them to come up. These need to come out before they start, excuse the noise, sorry about that, before they start putting out seed heads, basically. They have the tiniest bit of rust on them. They had rust really earlier on, and when the garlic was still around. After I harvested the garlic, I was picking off anything that looked rusty on these, and it's done the trick. They're good, but they really need to come out now. So going to harvest the lot. We're actually going to have some tonight with a stir fry, but we haven't been eating as many spring onions as we normally do. We normally have heaps in salads, but we just haven't been doing the salads either. Not sure why, but yeah. So I'm going to harvest them all, and what I'll do with the ones that we don't use immediately, probably about half of them because I'll put some in the fridge, I'll chop up and I'll free flow them, and then pop them in a bag, and we can use them in stir fries and things like that over the winter. Once I get them out and what have you, probably tomorrow I will prep the soil and do some more. I'm not sure if I'll do them here. I might do them over behind me between the courgettes and the peas. No, the silver beet. Yeah, because I'm slowly working my way this way with carrots and parsnips. So I want to put in another row, maybe 2 rows of parsnips, because my parsnips are up about that big now. So that's good, and it will give them probably 6 to 8 weeks between plantings, so that will be good. I'm harvesting carrots from the ones I did way back in spring. I've got 2 more rows of carrots in that will be ready in maybe about 6 to 8 weeks, so I'm slowly getting in some more, and then I'll have them through to autumn, and then I'll have planted even more before autumn, and they'll carry me through to spring, hopefully, if I get enough in, because we do eat a lot of carrots. It is one thing we eat a lot of. So I'll get these out, we'll do a bit of speedy and again, and a bit more music, and we'll have a look at them when I've got them out. Done. Got a big pile here and another big pile over the other side of the bed. As you can see, some of them are almost like leek size. These are definitely spring onions, but yeah, definitely big. I also grew some, the crimson ones, I can't remember the name of them, but yeah, and as you can see, I pulled off the end by accident, trying to get them out. Dirt's way drier than what I thought it was going to be. I mean, we had a good amount of rain yesterday, probably an hour and a half, and it wasn't just light rain, it was good rain, but it's still as dry as a bone there, so that was interesting. And I've had a wee check around in between, and yeah, the other beds, like the pumpkin bed, which is just here, it's dry too. So I mean, I know we had 3 days of really hot weather, but I did water really well in between early mornings so that they had plenty. But oh well. Anyway, I am going to go in a minute. I won't show you the rest of the onions right now. I'm starting to cook. I'm going to take these inside and I'm going to sort them out and get them done. If it clouds over again later, I'll come back out and do some more work. But that sun at the moment, it's mid-afternoon. It's just too hot for me. Even though we started off with it cloudy and damp this morning. Good old New Zealand weather. 4 seasons in one day. Anyway, I will catch you again soon. Good afternoon. Well, it is around 2:33 o'clock on Friday the 16th, and I'm finally getting around to doing something I should have done probably a week, maybe even 2 weeks ago. But anyway, I'm doing it today. I have tidied up my workstation in the garage, which was desperate to get tidied up. I had made a real mess and just left things I needed to seriously sort things out. So that's got done over the last day or so because we've had rain and it's been perfect to do other things. And basically I'm hunted down all my seeds. That took a bit because somewhere along the way I managed to misplace my container that had my spring onions and leeks in it, and it was the leeks that I was really after. So anyway, I've sorted it all out and I am now sort of ready. I'm just soaking some seed trays with composty stuff in it. Unfortunately, the stuff that I had sitting in a bucket down here has got really, really dry and almost hydrophobic, and the stuff that I had sieved already was much the same. The bag that I had only half gone through. By the time I got near the bottom, it was a lot more damp, but it's still dry, so that's going to take a wee bit of work, but we'll get on to it. So what am I going to sow? Well, I'm looking towards autumn, really. We're mid-January, looking that it's going to take potentially about 6 weeks for the plants to get to the point where they are ready to go into the outside soil. Yeah, I need to get on with it. I like to do my planting for winter around the 1st to 2nd week in March because it just gives the plants enough time to get in and do a wee bit of growth over the month of March before the cooler nights and days potentially hit. Yeah, there's a bit of a risk doing it in the 1st, 2nd week in March because if we have a really, really long tail to our summer/autumn, things can bolt, but it's worked for me for many years, and I find if I use that 1st week to 2nd week in March, things get settled in, start growing, and then I've got them usable over winter, things like the leafy stuff like spinach, silver beet and all that sort of stuff. And my brassicas have had a chance to actually get their feet in the soil and start to put in some good roots and grow to a state where they're quite happy to keep going through winter. And often by midwinter I might even have something that's edible. So yeah, works for me. Other people in other parts of the country will have their own timetables because Canterbury is very different to Northland or Auckland or even all the way down south in Invercargill. You've got to go with what works timetable wise for you and your region and even your sub-region, so your own microclimate, your own little environment. I certainly can grow things here over winter that I could never grow in our old place, which was further inland. We're coastal here, so I can get away with things not being hit by really hard frosts, which we got previously. So I'm going to do my leeks first, and it's a winter giant variety that I'm using. This was the ones I used last year and they were quite good. Unfortunately, of course, most of them bolted, but I did get 1 or 2 before they did do that. So we'll do a bit of speedy music and get on with it. trays of leeks. I've got some spring onions, both white and the red crimson ones, and I started getting in the cabbages, but I've run out of punnets that have got soil that's moist enough to do it. There's absolutely no point in planting into really, really, really dry soil because you've got to get it well hydrated to make it be effective to actually germinate the seed. So I've got some sitting in trays of water, and hopefully by tomorrow they'll be hydrated enough for me to finish doing the other seeds. The red cabbage, I will probably do some of the Savoy cabbage, get in some winter queen spinach and some more silver beet. I'll just see how ones I've got going. They've been slow, so I may not actually have to. They may last me all the way through winter. And what else would I got there? Yeah, so this, lettuce was the other thing. Yeah, so I'll get a few more things in, and probably tomorrow or Sunday. Tomorrow's meant to be a bit too, but that's okay. We can cope with days. I managed to, yesterday in the rain in between, I got out into the greenhouse and gave that a good tidy up. So that was good. It needed it. And I've harvested some stuff. So we'll talk more about that in the coffee and chat. So I'm going to disappear inside now and get a few other things done, like dinner. And we'll catch up for a coffee and chat soon. Well, it's that time of week again for a coffee and a chat. I've got the coffee, so let's get on with the chat. So, what did we do this week? So, first part was out in the back garden, and we had a look at that Roma tomato. Yeah, that was kind of sad. I have since found another tomato, but it was one of the ones that I planted late that had been in the pots too long, and it looked like it was sort of heading that way, but then again it looked at the stems were a bit darker. So I'm monitoring things. We have had some hot weather followed by another batch of cooler weather with rain, so just going to have to watch out for blight, fingers crossed, because unfortunately with blight, once it affects the tomato itself, the plant, it also will affect the fruit. So even if you've got some nice looking fruit that, even if they're sort of mostly green, and they could be ripened off inside, they aren't any good because the blight actually affects the tomato itself and it will blister and go mushy and be horrible. So just going to have to watch around that and monitor what's going on with my tomatoes outside for now. The inside tomatoes are doing really well. I've had to top out, I think, all of them now. Maybe there might be one I haven't, but they're colouring up. I got a black cherry off there the other day, and my mystery one that was shoved in the corner, it is definitely a beefsteak, but I'm not quite sure what kind yet, whether it's just a traditional beefsteak, which I did grow the seeds for, or if it's one of the other ones like Cherokee or purple Cherokee, or it's pretty sure it's not an Annis Noir. So yeah, I'm just going to have to see what it is. But fingers crossed, I'm really looking forward to trying them out. The second thing we did out in the back garden that day was tie up the peas, and they're holding, they're good. And the pea pods are filling out. So I picked probably a dozen pods off it the other day. Loads more that just need another, not even a week. So I'll get out there early this coming week and see if there's anything to pick. So really pleased with that. And the other peas are about that high up, my succession ones, and I will get some more netting and some bigger stakes this coming week and fix them up ready to go. And all the onions, spring onions that we harvested have all been processed and popped in the freezer for later use. So that will be good too. So the seed sowing that we did in the second half of the week, I got all that stuff that we talked about done. I actually haven't been back to it, unfortunately. Things have got on the way. But there is some seeds trays that are soaked ready to go. And if all goes well, I might get some done today or maybe tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure. It's just my schedule's quite busy this week. And then unfortunately, later in this coming week, well, not for seeds anyway, but we've got more rain coming according to the weather forecast. So we'll have to see how that pans out as well. Great as far as the garden for watering goes, but not so great for other things. You can't win really. So yeah, I'll get the rest of my seeds in this week. I have to get them in one way or the other. It'd be great to hear in the comments below what seeds you're planning to sow or what veggies you're planning to put in your garden for the autumn-winter phase, if that's what you do. Not everyone plants for the winter. Some people like to have a break and or their area is just not suitable for growing over winter. Certainly where we used to live, which was more inland, the frosts were so severe that it just really wasn't worth putting a lot in. The garden I had was small and very shaded by some very big trees, and it just, working full time, it just wasn't worth it at that time to do that. But here, being coastal, my frosts are usually, if we get them, really quite mild. It's unusual for us to get really, really heavy frosts. We have to have snow in the surrounding actual hills just here to get some heavy frosts here. So veggies generally do quite well. The other thing I need to look at, and I'm still scratching my head about, is what I'm going to do in the greenhouse plants over the winter. Last winter I did a bit of pak choi and a bit of lettuce, and the lettuce got to the stage it just wasn't worth it. The bugs got to it. The pak choi and things like that, yeah, great. We don't eat that much of it. Family were a bit about it. So, and I overwintered a lot of perennials, but this year I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to have more room to actually grow stuff. And I can only grow on one side of the greenhouse because the other side is too shaded. It's up against a fence and it's too shaded in the winter to actually grow effectively. So that is something I'm going to have to think of. If you grow anything in your greenhouse over winter and you're in a similar environment, love to hear what you grow because it might give me some ideas. Just like to thank everyone who has subscribed today. It's awesome. I really appreciate it. The subscription numbers are ticking up very quietly but very steadily at the moment, and it's really good to see. But I'd like to say, if you do want to subscribe, it's free too. Just click on the subscribe button. It's great to grow the channel even more. And if you have already subscribed, just check that you actually are still subscribed, because YouTube has this funny quirky thing where it suddenly automatically, for no reason at all, has this glitch and unsubscribes you. So love for you to stay as part of a channel member. Right, I'm going to leave it there now. I'm going to get on with my coffee and get the last bit of the editing done and spend the rest of the day hopefully in the garden. It's really cloudy out there and it has been sort of quite moist, hence why I'm inside doing this bit. But yeah, even if I get back out to my seeds, that will be a bonus. But I'd like to wish you a fun week in the garden or whatever else you're doing. Stay safe in what you're doing. But from me, from now, bye.